Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Brian Pickle, and we are back after the holidays, if you're watching kind of as I'm posting them, in the new year, in 2024. So happy new year. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday, whatever you celebrate or don't. I hope you enjoyed yourself over the last couple weeks that we haven't been in Pickleton. So we are back. I think we're on part 9 now. But anyway, the numbers don't really matter. Last time we were here, we built this little office industrial park, kind of a workplace park, I guess, is what it really ended up being, with a little bit of residential kind of in this area with some row houses and a little bit of mixed use. So, and I'm still really pleased with it. I think it turned out really, really nicely. There's a couple things that sort of need adjusting. And that one of those things is these one-way system here. I neglected to actually make these 2-lane roads. So we're going to fix that really fast. I think that's as far as the problem goes. I think this side is fine. Yeah, I think this side was like that too, but I had fixed it. Anyway, we are back over here. And just before we get into what we're going to do today, which is going to be in this area over here, and potentially over here as well if we get around to it. I do want to address a couple things from the comment section. So, thank you again, as always, to everybody for reaching out and offering tips and suggestions and, things that I may have overlooked. So, and thank you again also as well to the influx of followers. We've had about 100 since the last episode. So, that's super fantastic. Thank you everybody for being here. And thanks for interacting. So, a couple comments, lots of comments about pollution in this area. So, they're all very, very valid points. So, but I do want to reassure you that I'm not a complete space case. I did consider it. So, if we look at in our industrial info view here, the wind goes that direction, which is why I decided that these areas were okay to put some industrial buildings in. So all of the air pollution is going to be going that direction, all the way away from our university and all of our housing. So there should be no issue with that. But then ground pollution. So our biggest issue is going to be this building here, our wastewater treatment plant. Now that is going to give us the pollution, and we can see it kind of accumulating underneath. I think it will take quite some time before it reaches, if it reaches all the way to over here. And there are a couple different things that we can do to sort of address that issue. I know that there's a couple upgrades that now it says that this one, for example, advanced filtration system, increases the sewage purification rate, resulting in more sewage being turned back into fresh water. I don't know that this reduces the ground pollution or not. I'm not 100% sure on that. So, and then this is just storage, I'm pretty sure. This one does cause more pollution. This one doesn't cause any, but it doesn't say that it gets rid of any either. So I'm not 100% sure about that. But there are also a couple buildings that hopefully we will unlock in the future that are some of our industrial signature buildings. And ideally, some of those will kind of address that issue in the future once we unlock them. Because a couple of them, not this one, reduce pollution. So this fuel plant reduces industrial air pollution citywide and ground pollution citywide. So by 5%. So that's kind of a lot. I think that might be the only one of those that does that, but that's super handy. Also, when these buildings level up, if we take a look at their levels, they will also produce less pollution that way. So we actually have a fair bit of industrial buildings that are at that are at level 5. I think most of them are specialized industry buildings, but we do have a couple zoned ones that are doing pretty well as well. So once these get to higher levels, they will produce less pollution. So I think we're going to be okay in that regard, at least for a good while. But thank you still for pointing it out. I didn't completely not think about it at all, but I did overlook the ground pollution. I didn't really quite think about that, but again, I still think that we're going to be okay on that front for quite a while still. So we will, of course, see whether or not that ends up being the case, and, we'll keep an eye on it. But, yeah. Also, apparently not that weird to have a vegetable farm kind of along the city, so And a couple people, or at least one person, suggested that it could be like an agricultural department of the university. So I'm cool with that. Glad it worked out. Let's move on to here. So what I would like to do today is get a little bit of a town center going on and introduce a little bit more height kind of going in this direction. But we're really going to focus on this area here. And there are two main things that I want to do. And so we're going to go ahead and go into our development points to buy the things that I need first. So in police and admin, we're going to go and get a city hall building. So that is one thing that I would like to do today. And the other thing is I would like to bring in passenger trains. So that will also go kind of in this area, not the depot, but the train station will go in here. But of course, we are going to need to do a couple things to get this area prepared for that. And one of those things is buying more tiles. We'll start off with this. I think we can start off here, and that will get us a good base to go on. And, oh man, I always forget to turn off this music when I start things up. We'll go with the smooth beat, no ads. Okay. And the other thing that I want to do is kind of knock back these highways. We'll reconnect these things in the future, but at the moment, this doesn't go anywhere anyway, so we're going to get rid of it. And then we can put it back in place over whatever it is that we create here today, to make room for that first. And then we'll, kind of create our highway system around whatever it is that we do today. The other thing that I would like to do, and this is going to break our rail connection, but I want to get rid of the rail too. So we do have an active rail going on through here right now, but I'm not too worried about it for the time being. It'll sort itself out. We'll get it all figured out later. But for now, it's easier just to get it out of the way. And then we can sort of... I feel like it's going to be easier to fit it in after the fact than try to do it before. That decision might bite me in the ass, but we'll see. So we're going to try it like that first. And another thing that I want to do is get these roads prepared for the heavier amount of traffic that they're going to hold. So I want to upgrade this road to a 6-lane divided road. So we'll bring that all the way down here. Did not want to do that? Nope. Okay, so it's given me this overlapping items issue, and I'm pretty sure that's just because of the tram track that's there. But if we just upgrade it on either side, delete the one in the middle, we can just redraw it. And so we'll go ahead straight in there. And we will go into our trams, grab our double tram track, and upgrade the middle, and it'll all sort itself out. There we go. So back into here, we will grab our upgrade tool, or replace tool again, excuse me, and keep dragging it down. I think that worked there. Okay. And then here, here, and here. Now, with all of the sort of upgrading taking place, I'm thinking I also want to do these roads in here. So, and turn them into 3-lane roads. So we're going to drag this the whole way through. And that should have taken care of that whole area. Unfortunately, that does get rid of all of our trees, but we can just use the ones that we've placed in the middle and kind of do our own decorations instead. So that sets up that area. Now what I want to do is just sort of draw out some of our road networks and sort of plan them for the future. So we're going to start over here with these 3-lane ones, and I want to get our parallel road tool back on. And I'd like to have them go kind of freeform in this sort of direction. I can rework the finer details of what that's going to look like in the future, but for now, just to give us an idea of where that's headed. And then this is just going to go straight on out. We're not going to do anything fancy here. I just want to get a nice straight road. And then over here, we're just going to keep running these ones on. These are okay, I think, being 2-lane. I don't think we need 3 lanes here, because I imagine that these are going to be leading more into suburbs and kind of away from the city center. So we'll go ahead and keep this going that direction. And I guess while we're here, we might as well just kind of upgrade all this stuff kind of how we had it. So get our grass lining on both directions, and there we go. So I'm cool with that just being like that for now. It doesn't have to go anywhere specific just yet. And now it's time to start setting up our road frames for our town hall. I think that's what it was called, right? City Hall? Yeah, our City Hall building. So we're going to grab our 2-lane road, turn off our parallel mode, and let's see. Let's grab it from, I want to snap to the side of this building. Now, before I go actually too crazy with this, I want to see if there's any upgrades to this. There are. So, more space for fire engines, training facilities. How much of these? This goes on it. This goes on it. I assume this is an extra building? Yeah. So, that's something to keep in mind. Disaster response unit. Well, we don't have disasters on, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. And what about this one? So, okay. All the other ones that we probably might use, or could use at least in the future, they don't actually impede on they don't add to the building, the footprint of the building, so I think we're okay there. All of that talk for nothing. So let's just continue this road out. And I think I'm just going to bring it all the way up to the other end, make sure we have our 180 degrees on. And there we go. Beautiful. I like that. Now what I would like to do is kind of find a midpoint of sorts. I think since we already have a road going in here, this makes the most sense. So we'll bring this out here. And I think we might do the same kind of through here. Make sure our 90 degrees are on. There we go. And then this will be sort of like a courtyard that I will, decorate up myself. Instead of putting any, actual parks in there, I want to kind of make my own. And let's grab our City Hall building. Oh, yeah, right here. So, and I think this should fit in just perfectly back here. It looks like a little bit off-center, so I think if we just do toggle all snapping off, we can first put it in the right direction, and then I can kind of put it right where I want it. I think we'll do right here. There we go. Now what I would like to do is I want to actually upgrade this one immediately. These also only go within the footprint of the building, so so that's good. We don't need to worry about leaving extra space. And so this does a couple different things for us. So we get a -1 loan percent interest, which doesn't matter because we don't use loans here. But we also get -2% import costs citywide. So that's saving us some money on importing our goods. And then -5% crime rate and -5% building level cost. So this will help us, will help our buildings level up faster because it'll cost less money for them to do so, which is just another really great thing going on here. So now what I would like to do is I think we'll grab these roads. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I want to leave a 6-tile difference kind of in between the road. Or in between the building. All the way around it on all sides. And that will be our sort of, oops, I think I went a little bit too far on this side. That will leave us room for our little makeshift park space, which I'll do in the detailing at the end. I think it's just actually a touch uneven, and that's why it's giving me a little bit of a broken grid here, but I'm okay with it. It's not the end of the world. We'll work with it. So then I'm just going to go ahead then and connect these up this way. Just, kind of where the natural roads are already kind of going. It just makes sense just to kind of connect them up like this. And there we go. Now, the other major building that we want in here today is our train station. So we'll go into our transportation menu and grab that. We can turn our snapping back on, I think. And let's see. I want to have room for, I think just kind of right in the middle-ish is good. Let's grab our train line. And we're just going to draw it out a little ways. And then connect all of these ones up to it. In the most easy, simplest way. I think I might have messed something up a little bit here. Yeah, so it does not like how I did that. So that's fine. We'll just knock it up back. I didn't go out far enough, so we'll go out a little bit further, then we'll bring these in. All right, so now that we have this side connected up, We'll worry about that side in a moment. So I want these two to connect. And before we can really like take a look at how we want to do that, one thing that's important to look at is our contour lines. So I had a vision of this going kind of underneath the roads, but the problem there is going to be that this is going uphill. So to put it all the way down under the ground and then if we were to continue that trench at the same height, it would be really, 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 really low. So I think what we're really going to do, what makes the most sense, is we're just gonna bring it across. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and make a nice little curve at grade, and it's fine. Obviously, we don't want a lot of train connections just going at ground level right through the roads, because that's just, gonna create traffic backups and things. But sometimes it is just a little bit unavoidable. So we're gonna go up here, and we're gonna hook this right up in there. Get rid of this extra piece here. And I think we can probably make this a little bit smoother. Let's see. Why don't I grab this? Maybe our complex curve tool? I actually love this tool. I think a lot of people don't use it very much, but it's really handy for things like this. To make these nice curves that kind of, are a little bit more complex than the norm. But anyway, so we have that. And of course, we do still have our train line coming over from here, which I do want to have it connect into here. So I think for now, I might just leave that until we get the rest of this area set up. And then I can see exactly where I want things to go. But for now, I'm thinking it's looking good. So on this side, I think we have more than enough space to get this underground. So that's what we're going to do. Because it's going to go off this way, and it's going to stay kind of in a trench. So we're going to grab our shift terrain tool. And you want to keep your brush size kind of relatively small, just enough to fill up the area. So I think about 70 should do. That keeps all of these in there. And we don't need all three of them anyway. So 60 to 70 should be fine. We'll go with 70, just give ourselves a little extra room. And we don't want the strength too high because we don't want to make like a massive crater. So let me just get rid of these trees here. So back to our terrain tools. So we'll go right click to lower it. And then our level terrain tool will take. And I just want to count down about 10 meters because that should give us enough room to go underneath the road with a little breathing room on top. So each one of these lines, these dark lines, these black lines, is a meter. And the white one, that, if I'm not mistaken, that shows where the water line is. So, like where the sea level is. But that's obviously not an issue when we're inland this far, so it'll be fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll right click on the level that we want. And then we will left click, and that'll flatten out that entire area. So we'll go through here. And we'll just drag it directly underneath the road. And when we delete that segment of road, it'll actually go to the same level of this trench. So it'll be perfect. We'll drag this out here. And I'll knock those two out really quickly now. Just give ourselves that space. And as you can see it cleared that out already for us. So we'll do that. And then I think I want to actually level this out a little bit more. So I was watching another video, and somebody there in the comment section had said that for rail lines, you don't want these, you don't want your lines to connect at angles, or like on hills. So we're going to try to do that. We're going to try to keep it realistic to how you would in like real life. And we're going to bring these out and connect them while they're still at level ground. And then we will slope everything down into our trench. So I hope that's realistic. If anybody knows a lot about trains, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, if that's not correct. But I think that's what they were getting at in this other video I watched. I want to say it was of City Planner Plays. And somebody had mentioned that in their comments, and he talked about it. So I think we'll go there and we'll slope out our trench to get our train lines down. Now, hopefully this should give us enough room to get those roads over top. So we'll grab our continuous tool. We'll just bring it into our trench. And we're here right now. Right now, we don't need it to go aggressively far. So we'll just leave it like that for now. And hopefully these roads will connect right back up how we had them. Turn our parallel road tool back on. A mouthful, that one. Okay, so that took a little bit more work than I expected it to, but there we go. We've got our curved road back in here. We've got our little couplet going back in here. Unfortunate that it doesn't go over the bridge, but that's okay. I guess that's probably realistic, but it would have looked nice. Anywho, we have our trench. We've got our train line going through. So that is, we've got a building on fire, so everything's going perfectly. And now what I can do is actually just kind of clean this up a little bit and bring this trench a little bit closer to the rail line. I want it to be pretty close to it. Again, you know, I'll kind of clean this up probably either during the time lapse or off camera or whatnot. But for now, just to kind of get a look at what it's supposed to kind of, you know, what it's supposed to look like a little bit, we can smooth out this area here really fast. And then we got our nice little train trench going through. And I think that'll be nice. It's a little bumpy, but we can smooth it all out and it'll be nice. I like it. This is definitely something that you see kind of in the real world. Trains going kind of underneath roads. Sometimes parallel with roads, but still like underneath or, you know, like in a little trench. So I think, you know, just to keep them out of the way a little bit. So I think we're good there. And now what we can do is bring in our first passenger train line. So we're going to go ahead into here. Transportation menu. We're going to grab our passenger railway line tool. We are going to click our first stop, create new route starting here, and then we're going to drag it to our outside connection, Fort Johnson, and then we're going to bring it back. And hopefully everything works well, and it says complete route. Very nice. And speaking of our outside connections, I also wanted to name this one. So we had our Fort Johnson one here, but I would like to rename it Properton. So this is the name of a city for a friend and fellow content creator, Pilot Build Cities. So I'm really enjoying their series. They're another small creator like me, and I've just really enjoyed what they've got going on. So I figured I would name one of my connections for their city. And then eventually we will connect this out to there, but I don't want to bother with it right this moment. I just wanted to get that connection established. Looks like we've got a traffic accident over here. Anything I need to worry about? No, just, oh. Floating police car. Everybody's back on track. Okay. Now, before we get into kind of zoning up this area and making it, you know, kind of bringing it all together, there's one last method of public transit I would like to get kind of going around this area. So in my testing, I've noticed that, I mean, I just threw this little intersection in here quickly just to add a little bit of connectivity. Since our highway didn't have anything going over here yet, it didn't connect to this highway, and it didn't have any exits or anything onto like this road or onto this road. And it will eventually, but I want to let the area build out a little bit more before we get into that. So, but when I was testing things and just in general, like zoning up this area got a lot backed up like crazy. Now, I don't know that what I'm about to do is going to solve that issue necessarily. I think it mostly had to do with just like an influx of people coming in to fill the new houses, since this is the only highway entrance into this area, which is a problem, but it's just not a problem that we're going to solve today. It just doesn't really make sense to do that right this moment. When we do the downtown, which will be shortly, that's kind of when we will address that problem. But more public transit is never really a bad thing. So what I'm thinking is this road gets relatively busy. Getting people into, like, through this roundabout and into our university and over to this area. So I think this could make a great spot for a little bit of like a tram park, essentially. A tram interchange park, exchange park. So what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to go into our transportation menu, and we're going to get our tram lines, and we're going to grab a one-way train track. And we're just going to pull it right out from here, kind of into this area. And we're going to like do this all nice up and like make this a whole fancy little spot going on. But for now, what I'd like to do is find the tram tracks or the tram stops that are over here. And I want to move them a little bit closer. So we can actually just click on the stop itself and move it. And it'll readjust the line and everything for us. No problem. So I think I don't really want it to stop on this road. But I think if we do it about here, that should be fine. And we'll go get the other one too. Which is, we've got a lot of people lined up here. So that's good. It is a useful line. So that's nice. And we will drag that one over this way. And the lines are all set up there. Perfect. So now what I want to do is give them a little bit of like a pedestrian access to get straight from over here to our other one. Not really sure why that was giving me a problem, but we've sorted it. Now we need to get the rest of our tram tracks. So did I do tram tracks this whole way long? No, I stopped over here, right? Okay. We might do more trams, but at another time. One thing at a time, Pickle. One thing at a time. Looks like we've got some traffic jam going on over here. I need to be worried about this. I think we're okay. Might just want to turn off the light here. I don't think we really need that there. Here we go. So that should flow a little bit more smoothly. Okay. Anywho, what we were doing, we're getting our tram tracks. So we're going to go through here and we're going to upgrade this entire road to be a tram track all the way up until here where they split off. Then we're going to do our one-way tracks. So I want here and all the way down. That should all be connected in there just fine. And then we will grab our little curve tool, hopefully connect this into here, and upgrade this part. Now we have our little tram connection. Well, let's actually just do this one way. There we go. Nope, that's still not right. There we go. Okay, so now we have our trams, our tram roads all connected. And what I would like to do is bring them into the middle of this. Now, I could do a tram turnaround, but I think I just want to do like an end line. So we'll just go with our one-way tram track, and we'll just go straight through the middle here. And then if we just upgrade, let's see, connect it all the way through here, then we can upgrade this section, and it'll only do that part. There we go. Now we can place our tram stops. So I think we'll do one, obviously, right down here. See, now you have to get it just right because we don't want that to say, we don't want that icon there. So it has to be on the right side of the road. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing on this side. Get these two set up. There we go. And if you'll remember from when we first set up trams in the city, when you do this with like a one-way tram track, that makes it so that the tram can just go back and forth. So we'll go ahead and place one there. I really don't think we need any other tram stops along this road. There's just nothing going on here. It's all interchanges. So I really don't think we need anything there. But what we do want is one about here and here. So, of course, we have no vehicles. Again, we can just go into our transportation overview, and we can just adjust the number of vehicles on the line. So we'll go ahead and bump that down to 3. We'll check out our other ones. This one has 6 trams. We can probably drop that down to 5. You know, they're being used, but they're not completely full yet. So, and I mean, that's just part of that is that we don't have like the population numbers to support them being completely full. because if we look at our transportation, like, they are being used in pretty significant numbers. So, there we go. And that is everything basically set up. So now if we take a look back over here, obviously this is very bare, and we need some businesses and such. Are these? Yeah, these are not quite even, and that is sort of driving me crazy, but I think I can live with it. I'm gonna have to, I guess. So, I distracted myself there. We need to get some roads set up here so we can get some businesses and also a little bit of housing in here. So through this area, what I would like to do is use our alleyway roads. So, not from there. And I don't need them on parallel mode. Okay. So I think to kind of maximize space, I'm just going to drag them right through the middle here, where we kind of have, you know, full zoning space on either side. Now, the zonings got messed up, and that's fine. We will sort all that in the future. And I think we would like to do the same thing on this side. It's not quite as wide, so I think maybe we'll do the alleyway through this way instead, and that will give us our full, like, zoning tiles. So ideally, we could get it right in the middle, but I think it's just not quite lined up. But I'm okay with that. I think that works. And now in here, in this whole area, I don't want any zoning. This is all going to be park space. But all of this can have zoning. So I think one of the first things that we need to bring in is a parking lot. So we'll go in, grab some parking lots, and I think, no, our large one doesn't quite fit, but medium does. And I think it probably just makes sense to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm thinking I kind of want this entire corner to not have any zoning either. It'll be a little bit of a park space through most of this area. Just because it's kind of awkwardly shaped, and obviously I don't want zoning on these roads. So I think if we keep this area kind of a nice little corner park space, that could be pretty nice. I want to get rid of these things in the middle here too, because I want to do my own kind of landscaping. But now that we have that sorted out, let's get some zoning in. So I'm thinking we want to stick with lower density on this side and higher density on this side. So I think so over here, we'll start with some low density commercial. And I think we'll kind of just line the entire area with it. And kind of intersperse it with a little bit of office. Now that seems like a perfect place for a path, so I'm going to leave that empty there. You can just fill that in immediately, so we don't forget about it. Might as well bring it all the way through. There we go. I think I like that. And I think probably what would look the best back here is a little bit of, like, row housing. So we'll fill up the whole entire space with it. And some more commercial. I think we'll keep that kind of the theme for this side. Over on this side is where I would like to have some of our higher density stuff. So, because I want this to kind of crawl in height to our downtown that will sit over here. So, what I'm thinking is, I don't know that we'll get into actual high density buildings, but if I can correct some of the zoning over here, I can maybe get, hopefully, a corner asset. Would be the ideal. Yes. Perfect. So, we're going to do some mixed-use housing over here. So, I think a 4x5 might be too big. A 4x4 might be just what I'm looking for. So, we'll see how that comes in. This side as well is also prime for a sort of like corner lot. So, we'll do that. Let's see if I can correct them on this side as well. Now, and I think, yeah, since we are close enough, it still has actually connected to the road. So it has still actually made it a corner lot. So that's nice. And then we can do some medium density in here as well. And I'm just kind of varying the sizes and shapes of the buildings to give us a little bit more variety. This is, again, like the North American side of our map. So it's a little bit, honestly, it's a little bit ugly. Like, without, I feel like the European assets kind of merge a little bit friendlier, if that makes any sense. They just look nicer all put together. So, like, side by side. And these ones they just don't. So, there's that. See, now this is kind of what I'm talking about, where I wish they were just a little bit, I don't know, something was better about these. See, because now I can't zone this space. Let's see. If I knock that out, can I get things next to it? No. See, the zoning is broken, so I can't even get anything there. And that is just unfortunate. Perhaps, though, if we make this a smaller building. How about that? Oh, that gave me 2 of them. Interesting. We'll see how that works out. So some of this stuff is just like kind of trial and error and seeing what works and what doesn't. Because I would like to have some buildings like flush against the side of this so that we don't have just like this ugly concrete wall. Now, I wish they actually like fused together, but... Ooh, see, now this looks a little bit funky. So why don't we knock this back off a little bit? I want them to be a little bit smaller. Again, it's just a little bit of trial and error in trying to see what size buildings work for what you want. Like, these are just a little bit too big. And, yeah, so I think right now is a good time to, like, kind of go into a little bit of a zoning and detailing time-lapse. I'll kind of fill this area in, see what kind of buildings we get in, see what stuff sort of fits the size and look that I want, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've decided that I'm going to leave the rest of this detailing for off camera, just because it is quite tedious. Again, the absolute first mod that I will be getting when they are officially released and officially supported is going to be a line tool, because this is just madness. But it just looks so nice when it's finished. Is it worth all the effort? I'm not entirely sure. Lots of crime being committed over here, right by City Hall. That doesn't seem like a wise choice. But anywho, so I kind of went through here and adjusted the size of the buildings a little bit to try to get something a little bit more sensible. I didn't love the really tall buildings right next to the smaller commercial stuff. And I mean, I know that that sort of happens in real life. But it just looked really silly, and I didn't like it at all. So I wanted something a little bit smaller kind of next to those, and I think we've sort of achieved that goal here. And then as we move like this way in the future, we will finally introduce some high density buildings. I think I want to say that we have a pretty severe homelessness problem going on in our city right now. So hopefully when we get high density actual zoning in, like place it down, and we've had it unlocked for a considerable amount of time. Hopefully that will sort of start resolving itself. And then out this way we'll be kind of going in the opposite direction, and we will lower height and kind of get into like sprawling suburbia kind of out that way. That's my vision for the series as of right now. I think logically the next step is going to be kind of completing this area here and working on downtown and bringing in this highway and connecting this rail line up in a sensible way now that we've kind of broken it. But yeah, this is it. I've got my little brined pickle kind of thing going on over here. Ooh, and we're turning into fall now. Lovely. I do love to see the stuff change colors. And it looks so nice, like kind of like mixed in with some of the green and the orange. Love it. But yeah, so we've got our high density stuff going on over here, medium density kind of ish stuff. We have our city hall, we have our train station. It is functioning and doing well. We are getting 3 passengers right now, but I think our transport is still getting some pretty good usage out of it. 11,900 a month, and we have 13,000 people in the city. So that is excellent news. Again, our trams are just performing phenomenally. 9,000 citizens a month, a couple tourists. So that is just awesome. I think the trams are really truly the MVP of the transportation network in this game. It's kind of amazing. The usage isn't even still that high yet, but again, I think that's just because they hold a lot of passengers, and we don't really have that many people still in the city. Like, this is still a relatively low number in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so we have our lower density stuff over here. I accidentally zoned up a bunch of high density and didn't realize it, so I had to get rid of all that. But this is looking much, much better. We have our row housing in here and just a lot of offices and commercial, and I think it's coming together really nicely. But yeah, so we are coming right along here in Pickleton. I think I'm really pleased with how this all turned out. Of course, as always, let me know what you think in the comments below, whether or not you like what we're doing here. And also if you ever have suggestions for where you would like to see the series go next, what sort of builds you want to see done. Always feel free to leave those in the comments. I run out of inspiration for what exactly to do all the time. So, luckily I had a nice 2-week break to think about what I wanted to do for this area. But it doesn't always just come to me. So if you ever have suggestions or things that you think would look really great here that, it's just not on my mind, it's not what I thought about, leave it in the comments below and we can see, we'll see what we can do. If I like your suggestion and it fits, we'll definitely make it work. So I would love to take some input and, inspiration from all of you watching as well as to what to do with our city. And before we set off, I want to go ahead and check in on a couple of our citizens. So I think we might have lost a couple at some point. Let's go check out Brandon. What's Brandon up to? He is coming into our little town over here. He scored his dream job with Mouthwater Press. I wonder if that's where he's going. So that's over here. Where did he go? I feel like in Cities Skylines 1, it let you follow people a little bit easier. Where are you, Brandon? Oh, yeah. Nope, he finally arrived. Okay, so he took one of our little turnarounds to get in here. Very nice. So he works in one of these little buildings. He's a senior. Job level, I mean. Not age. Very nice. Let's see. Who else can we take a look at really quick? Let's check out Rise. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So we've got Rise over here, and they are living in our nice Cornichon Hills gated neighborhood. So they're doing pretty well for themselves. And why don't we check out Super Snaps? Sorry, Super Snaps, I don't know your actual name. That's just how it shows up on Discord. Oh, they're in our little row house community that we built a couple episodes ago. Our very first venture into North American housing over here. So very nice. This is where I will leave it today. I hope you all enjoyed the build. As always, feel free to leave your feedback and suggestions in the comments below. Thank you again also for everybody new to the channel. I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you stick around. I'd love to have so many people interacting with the content that I'm putting out and just enjoying the series. It really makes me happy to see that so many people are enjoying it. So welcome in to all the new people. I hope you stick around, and I hope I provide the value that you came for. But otherwise, that is finally going to do it for today. I will leave you with some lovely cinematics to enjoy of our city on your way out. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time.